Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I just wanted to give you a quick update. Well, first of all, thank you all for having the stomach to watch those two shorts that were posted earlier today. My neighbors are disgusting. And I'll give you some feedback from what you guys have said and what my family and friends have said. Okay? But before I do, please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. I'll give you an update. I did contact the sheriff's department, gave them all the information. A nice deputy arrived here, and he did take notes, and he did photograph. He also was kind enough to put on a pair of gloves and remove the offending dead animals from my property. However, I did contact my local post office, and the postal carrier this morning, when he drove up, he saw something dangling from the mailbox. He opened it, saw what you all saw, and he photographed it. He then wrapped up the mail that he was going to deliver in plastic and left it at the foot of the mailbox. Now, when you look inside the mailbox, there was already mail in there from last night. I found out that the mail was delivered very late yesterday. It was delivered after I had already closed my gate, which was around 6:30 p.m. He delivered at 7 p.m., so the mail was in the mailbox. And these perpetrator neighbors saw that there was mail in the mailbox. And they chose to commit a federal crime by not only tampering with my mailbox, but also vandalizing my mail, which was covered in blood. And yes, I have photos of it. I'm not going to post it on YouTube. But when I file my federal postal complaint, I will provide them with that evidence. And then they can perform their own investigation between my local post office, the sheriff's department, and I will be providing names of who I believe is involved. And they could interview them. If they're not involved, maybe they know who is, right? That's the way you perform an investigation. There are only less than 800 people in this town. We all know who the perpetrators are that are involved. So I'm going to tell you what else happened. So I did check my cameras. And you know that they're all tampered with. However, this is what was caught on my cameras. At 3:21 a.m., a vehicle drove by with their bright lights from the left to the right. At 3:38 a.m., another vehicle drove from left to right. That's two vehicles within 7 minutes. At 4:01 a.m., a vehicle drove from right to left. They drove in the opposite direction down the county road. Then another vehicle at 4:21 a.m. drove from right to left down the county road. That's 4 vehicles in remote rural Kentucky. Now, wait a minute, it gets better. Now, at 5:49 a.m., another vehicle drives from left to right. And then at 6:25 a.m., there was not a car, but there was a trespasser on my property that triggered the motion lights by the county creek near one of my outbuildings. And that stayed on for a while. I didn't see anyone there. There was no animal there. That was at 6:25 a.m. So 3:21 a.m. a vehicle drove by. 3:38 a.m. 4:01 a.m. 4:21 a.m. 5:49 a.m. 6:25 a.m. All in this little tiny community. So I would venture a guess that the criminals that were driving back and forth at that time were trying to see if the coast is clear for whomever was pulling the prank on my driveway. And they probably disabled the cameras photographing them because, of course, my cameras did catch Eddie and Scarlett Marks dumping dirty toilet paper at 12:03 a.m. So I just wanted to give you that update. I also want to tell you some of the feedback that I received. Okay. And this is some feedback that I received. And thank you, Richard Moore, for performing some of this research. This is his immediate reaction. He says, "Oh, this is definitely Scarlet Mark's work. And since you have already made criminal complaints to the sheriff and he's done nothing, you should proceed to file a 1983 Bevins complaint for constitutional rights violations and include the Marks and anyone else as a state actor since they work for and work with the COPS program, which is part of law enforcement. Placing dead animals inside your mailbox is a serious offense that violates multiple laws. In the United States, mailboxes are considered federal property, and tampering with them is illegal under federal law. Specifically, Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 1705 states, anyone who willfully or maliciously injures, tears down, or destroys any letterbox or other receptacle intended or used for the receipt or delivery of mail can face fines and imprisonment. Additionally, depositing dead animals in a mailbox can be considered harassment, intimidation, potentially violating state and local laws against such behavior. And in Kentucky, for example, abandoning dead animals on another person's property without permission is unlawful. According to Kentucky Revised Statutes, Chapter 263, there is a proper disposal of dead animals. It's mandated to prevent public health hazards. And one of you guys said that I should call the health department, and I might very well do that. I did call the Division of Fish and Wildlife. Division of Fish and Wildlife said that it's a jurisdiction of the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department said that they were actually going to call the Fish and Wildlife to report it to them. And I also called the dog catcher, just in case, to cover my own bases here. Preserving any evidence, such as photographs or surveillance footage, can assist in the investigation and prosecution of the responsible individuals. The 1983 is a federal lawsuit which would have you file pro se. You can go to the federal district court for your area online and follow the links to presenting yourself in a lawsuit. It will give you a checklist and all the parameters for doing this on your own. So that's the information I got there. I had a friend email me privately, message me privately, who she sees, what's going on here. She was horrified. She said it was disgusting. A family member said it's absolutely disgusting. They're predators, that I need to get out of here. I need to sell this property and get out of here. And that they're all inbreds. And that they have a primitive mind. They've got a primitive brain. Okay? They're primitive. They're back in the Stone Age. Okay? So now, I'm just going to say this for the record because I know that my neighbors, not only are they surveilling me, listening interiorly of my house, but they watch my videos, downvote them, etc. This is a warning to my neighbors, okay? I'm a woman not to F with, okay? I've said it before. Scarlet, I am not going to rest until you are arrested. I don't care what it takes. I want to see those handcuffs around your sorry little wrist, and I want to see you in the local county jail. And I will send my message to the universe, and I'm going to make it happen. Okay? And for all you losers out there that are trespassing and doing all this, I know what you're up to. The vandalizing of my property, the dead animals, the garbage and stuff. One, you're trying to make my property look undesirable for selling. You're trying to interfere with my time, interfere with the selling of my property, and try to force me out without selling it. Well, you guys are idiots. One, I will never leave until my house is sold. And I will make sure that I extinguish every legal remedy to nail your sorry asses And I will be filing another complaint with the FBI. I've already started the process. Between the erection of the DirecTV, due, threat, the dead animals, you're leaving way too much evidence. You're too confident. You're too cocky. You're too disturbed. You're going off the charts now. You are tying the noose around your own necks. Because you are leaving irrefutable evidence that now crosses federal laws. As if it didn't happen before with your pernicious stalking and harassment. But this is over the top. This is not something that lawyers will ignore. This is not something the federal post office will ignore when I file that complaint. And I will be. I will be filing that complaint. And yes, it takes time. It's time consuming. I want to sell this property, and I will be selling it. And you're interfering with my selling process. But I'm leaving all the evidence behind, all the vandalism you've committed against my property. It's photographed, it's evidence. I already sent the information to a local senator. I'm going to keep on going. And I can't wait till the new administration comes in, because they are going to crack down on people like you. I guarantee it. I guarantee they'll look at my evidence in a different way than it has in the past. And like I said, I will not stop until I see handcuffs around your sorry little wrists, Scarlett. And for anybody else that was involved in that mess, like your husband, or the other neighbors, or the people that live next door to the Perkies. You know that guy that lives next door there? He's always trailing behind everybody else's vehicle. Yeah, I have his license plate number, by the way, unless he decides to change it, which he may very well do. But there are people here that I don't know their names, but it doesn't matter, because when the police officer in the Manalapan Police Department filed lawsuit against the township of Manalapan and the chief of police, former chief of police Michael Fountain, he also named at least a dozen unknown ABC individuals, because he knew that he was being gang stalked. He knew that there was organized stalking against him. He knew. He didn't know the names of those individuals. And the only reason he was able to obtain legal counsel as a targeted person is because he worked for the very agency that was targeting him. And he had whistleblower protection, and he also, had vacation and a pension and all of those things. So he was able to hire an attorney. He was able to file a lawsuit. He was able to prosecute them. And he won a huge settlement with a gag order. Now, I don't work for any federal agency. I never have, never will, nobody in my family's ever worked for one. So we as targeted people, we don't have those privileges of the suspendables from the FBI that can file lawsuits and get other jobs and stuff and make additional income. We don't have those options as targeted people placed on a covert watch list. But that's going to be changing, because everybody out there is always filing lawsuits about the directed energy weapons, about the radio frequencies like TJ. I haven't seen anybody else file a lawsuit about the stalking, the harassment, the vandalism, the thefts. Those are things that we can win. You think the government is going to admit to illegal experimentation, covert experimentation on the public? You're kidding me. It's not going to happen. You could file all the lawsuits you want about do and don't and, all the energy weapons. It's not going to happen. It's not going to stop. But you can file lawsuits about the lack of investigating the vandalism on your property, the pet theft, the harming of your pets, the illegal entries, the property thefts and vandalism. That's tangible evidence that's left behind. And that's why I have never once filed a police report about directed energy weapons, about lasers, tasers, masers. I've never done that. I never will. I can't prove it. I can't prove it. I certainly won't with the local government. That's a federal issue anyway. Right? It's a federal issue. But all of these domestic issues, these are prosecutable crimes. But anyway, I wanted to mention something else. So I asked AI about the Fourth Amendment because this is how people win lawsuits. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is part of the Bill of Rights. It protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. It ensures that a person's privacy is respected unless there is a warrant supported by probable cause. The text of the amendment states, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported I'm gonna let this go to voicemail. Supported I just lost my shall issue upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized." The key concepts, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to have to take that call, so I'll read this. The reasonableness is searches and seizures must be reasonable. Warrants require probable cause supported by evidence and specifics on what is to be searched or seized. And that goes for Baker acting somebody. Nobody can break into your house and say that you are crazy, paranoid, schizophrenic, or all of these things. They have no right. Nobody has a right to break into your house without a warrant. And your privacy protects you in your home, personal belongings, communications, and sometimes even in public spaces. Examples of lawsuits involving alleged violations are, there are numerous. There's Terry versus Ohio, 1968. The issue is police stop and frisk without a warrant. The outcome? The Supreme Court upheld the practice. If an officer has reasonable suspicion that a crime is afoot, setting a precedent for stop and frisk. Katz, K-A-T-Z, versus the United States, 1967. The issue is the FBI wiretapped a public phone booth without a warrant. The outcome? The Supreme Court ruled that this violated the Fourth Amendment, expanding its scope to include electronic privacy. MAP, M-A-P-P versus Ohio, 1961. The issue, police conducted a warrantless search and found illegal materials. The outcome, the Supreme Court ruled that evidence obtained in violation of the Fourth Amendment cannot be used in state courts, creating the exclusionary rule. So, everybody, all the targeted people out there that have your houses searched, even if they find illegal materials, that is in violation of your Fourth Amendment. It cannot be used in any state courts, creating the exclusionary rule. Carpenter versus the United States, 2018. The issue is law enforcement access cell phone location data without a warrant. The outcome? The Supreme Court held that obtaining such data requires a warrant, recognizes the sensitive nature of digital privacy. And that goes for those fake FISA warrants. New Jersey versus TLO, 1985. The issue, a student's purse was searched by school officials without a warrant. The outcome? The court ruled the search reasonable under the circumstances, showing that schools have a leeway in searches. This is why you need to take your kids out of public schools. listen, my daughter is, she reminds me that she's middle-aged right now, and that I cannot no longer treat her like she's my child. She reminds me that she's middle-aged now, which makes me laugh to think that I have a middle-aged daughter. But if I had a school-age child, there is no way I would have my child in any public school. No way. I would homeschool my child. The ongoing concerns and legal challenges are: the Fourth Amendment often revolves around the following: mass surveillance programs like the NSA data collection, the police use of technology like drones or facial recognition, border searches without warrants, like, well, yeah, like that, they're doing a real good job, that, right? They're doing a real good job with those border searches. No-knock warrants used in cases like the Breonna Taylor. Now, ChatGPT asks me, would you like more details on recent lawsuits or guidance on specific Fourth Amendment concerns? And I said, yes, of course I do. So the issue of individuals being I asked about the watch list. The issue of individuals being placed on watch lists without due process and experience surveillance or harassment raises serious legal and constitutional concerns, including violations of the Fourth Amendment. This topic has been the subject of several lawsuits and public debate. Here's an overview of the legal landscape and potential avenues for action. Now, I am going to record this on another video because I'm already 20 minutes in. I'm going to have to get my animals to bed, and I've got a phone call to respond to, but I will get back to this because I want you to hear what these avenues for action are. So I appreciate your listening to this. And I look forward to questions and comments down below. And I'm so sorry that this is rushed and I'm angry and all that stuff. But I want you to know what steps I have taken and what steps will be taken. And as I said, I will not rest until those neighbors are arrested and prosecuted. Sorry, not going to happen. And for you neighbors out there, I will not be vacating my property until it sells. So you can keep trying. You're digging yourself a hole bigger. You are giving me more and more evidence than I could even hope for. Thank you, neighbors. Thank you for the evidence that I need to nail your asses to the cross. And this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Like I said, she's not blessed, she's cursed. Once you sell your soul to the devil, you are damned.